It's changed how I treat Tony as a person, as a man, but most importantly as my husband, because I see him differently now than how I used to see him. I didn't appreciate him for who he was. Now I understand him much better. I think what shifted my thinking is that I was always blaming him for things that I didn't want to look at in the mirror and see that I was really the problem sometimes. And so love and respect showed me that I had some issues of my own, and I didn't want to take ownership of those issues until I studied the book and I realized, hey, it's me, and I need to correct this before I can expect him to change.
It just put words to so much of what I had felt for so long and just maybe didn't know how to give voice to it. But I think back over, all the things that I did early in our marriage, probably out of hurt, not being as loving, because I know that was one thing that Ginger always mentioned to me, is that you just act like you don't love me. Well, deep down I was saying, well, you don't really seem to respect me as a man, or what I bring to the marriage, or what I bring to our life together. But I think back to, so many times where I just put up walls and just shut down and did so many things to kind of kill the love between us. I've got nobody to blame but myself. I think it came down, really part of our story about, I guess, a year and a half ago. We just gone through an incredibly rocky period in our marriage. A lot of it was, some of the just kind of the cumulative effect over the years, but it really kind of came to head with an illness that our daughter had. She was diagnosed with an eating disorder. It was a pretty serious situation. We actually had to have her admitted to a facility in Arizona for treatment. And with the emotional stress of that, with the financial stress of that, I had gotten to the point where I just finally said, I just can't do this anymore. I don't want to do it. I just don't want to do it anymore. I was probably about 2 weeks away from moving out. In fact, I'd already put a deposit down on an apartment here in town. And I guess it's one thing to sit and talk about that in the abstract, but those last 2 weeks, when it came down to it and I started going through the house trying to decide what I was going to box up and take with me to the apartment, and what was going to stay, and how we were going to basically divide our lives, and some things just weren't divisible.
God changes you little by little. It doesn't happen all at once sometimes. And I just prayed that Sunday that God would heal our marriage and that He would heal our broken family. And I guess that Thursday, which was July the 6th or July the 5th, I got the call, and He said, I can't go through with this. It was just a few days later. He said, can I come to your mom and dad's and we talk? That was the defining moment, that we, for the first time in years, really had a genuine conversation where we listened to each other. But on a whimsy, we just got in the car and drove to the beach. And it was like a second honeymoon. And we just sat there and we talked, we listened to each other, and we poured it out and just got it all out. And we realized that we really did care about each other, and it was worth saving. I could tell a huge difference after reading that book. I just knew right off the bat that I needed to change, that I had not been a wife that I needed to be, because I was always trying to blame Tony for the things that had happened in our life and never taking responsibility myself.
I just made up my mind that no, I'm not going to watch my family disintegrate. I'm not going to watch our marriage disintegrate. I'm going to dig my heels in and going to try to make a go of this. and it's not easy. You know, it'd be nice to say that, you know, somebody waved a little magic wand and from that point forward it was all better. It's incredibly hard work, but it's something worth every minute of the effort.
But there's so much freedom in how I feel now that I've never in my whole married life felt before. I don't feel bitter and angry, and I'm not nearly as anxious about things because there's that freedom there. And I think I've shared this with other friends too, even in our small group, that I've applied some of these same practices on our daughter, and it works. Just to bite your tongue sometimes.
It's just good, practical, down-to-earth advice on things you can say or the way you phrase certain responses. And I catch myself really trying to do that now, making a conscious effort, even sometimes when I don't feel like it.